Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into First Reaction TV. My name is J Mart. Do you ever wonder how many times MSNBC says the name Donald Trump? Well, tonight I did. And tonight I counted. So I started off the night by switching back to MSNBC as I watch all three different news networks from time to time. I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC, and I watch Fox News. It helps me get a better understanding of what's going on in the world, instead of just taking in one viewpoint. So I switched back to MSNBC, and the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell was just starting. So right away, even though they were talking about Donald Trump, it still caught me off guard just how many times I've actually heard his name. But I wasn't quite sure how much they mentioned him. So I went back and I watched the full episode of The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. I started counting.
Breaking news about legal matters involving Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Trump lawyers. Donald Trump was not charged. Donald Trump accusations of Donald Trump. Donald Trump Tower. Donald Trump investigating Donald Trump's Trump former president. Donald Trump lawyer. Trump's Trump lawyer. Donald Trump's possession. Donald Trump's desk. Trump lawyers. Donald Trump attorney. Donald Trump, sex with Donald Trump, but Donald Trump hung in there. Donald Trump.
Well, for those of you counting at home, that was 45 times. Also, if you thought the show was over, it's not. That was only the first 10 minutes of the show. And yes, even though in 10 minutes they managed to mention his name 45 different times, which adds up to once every 13 seconds. What's that? Yeah, these are the people that can't stand Trump, supposedly. Yeah, they hate talking about him. If they stick with this pace, they are on path to mentioning his name over 200 times per this episode.
Donald Trump lawyers. Trump lawyers. What about Donald Trump? Donald Trump want.
And Donald Trump's.
Charles Coleman and Andrew Weissman, thank you both very much for joining us on this breaking news reporting.
Okay, so that was MSNBC's version of what they call breaking news. Did you hear any news being mentioned? Lawrence O'Donnell interviews two different guests where Trump's name is mentioned another 25 times. Now that brings the total up to 70 times total. It does bring the average down, though, to where Trump's name is now being mentioned once every 17 seconds. Do you think they have time to mention any news story in between these 17 seconds? So if they're not actually reporting the news, then what are they doing? Is this just a glorified version of TMZ? If it's not just another version of TMZ where they follow celebrities around that they're obsessed with, take pictures of them walking their dogs, following them to the grocery store, if it's not that, then they have to bring people the news, right? There's about half of the show remaining, so let's find out if they bring people the news.
Kevin McCarthy said today that he's not defending Donald Trump right before he defended Donald Trump.
President Trump.
Donald Trump business, impeachment trial of Donald Trump, defendant Trump.
Donald Trump, otherwise known as Donald Trump, all in with Donald Trump playbook. Donald Trump's Trump presidency, Donald Trump.
How is Donald Trump feeling tonight? Only Trump. Donald Trump's niece, Trump.
Alright, so in the interview with Adam Schiff, Trump's name is mentioned another 27 times, which brings us to the total of 97. That brings our average back down to Trump's name being mentioned about once every 16 seconds during this show. I still haven't heard any news being reported yet. It seems like Lawrence O'Donnell is more worried about Donald Trump's feelings, which really seems odd. Especially for a network that supposedly hates Trump, can't stand talking about Trump, but they just can't seem to stop talking about him. So just a little over the halfway mark, we're going to keep on counting to see if we can get to the bottom of this.
We in the January 6th committee
purchased wild and out of control sexual experience, penetrating, magical
porn stars
on a daily basis.
Shit, how'd that get in there? That's not what we were supposed to be doing here. Well, let's get back to the counting.
Donald Trump is sad.
Mr.
Trump lawyer. Donald Trump. Donald Trump is feeling is Donald Trump. Trump world. Trump sources. Donald Trump's. The first sentence is Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump lies for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Trump world. Donald Trump show.
Near Donald's arsenal.
How much your uncle and the experience of your Uncle Donald. We're going to squeeze in a commercial break. We're going to be right back. Trump.
You told Donald Trump to turn around and take off his pants.
Yes.
And did he?
Yes.
And did he?
Of course, Donald Trump, one of the weirdest men in the world.
Donald.
Your Uncle Donald Trump demanding that Donald Trump,
Donald.
Trump mob, Trump.
In the last 20 minutes of the episode, Trump's name was mentioned another 38 times, which is a pretty drastic decrease in the amount of times his name was mentioned. But if you add that 38 with the previous 97 Trumps that were already mentioned, it brings our total to 135 Trumps. Now, for all you pronoun fans out there, I did not include words like he, him, his, z, them, them, or any other pronoun that could have been referred to Donald Trump. The Orange Crush. Also, within the last interview was Donald Trump's niece, and I did not include the words my uncle, your uncle. For the total episode, it brings our average to once every 20 seconds a Trump was mentioned. So if I were to actually have included the pronouns, Trump would have been mentioned or referred to about once every 3 seconds, to where literally for an entire hour-long show, every single sentence either referred to or was about one man. So with that being said, I wanted to play another clip from Real Time with Bill Maher and Russell Brand.
Now, I went on Bill Maher the other day and I had a conversation about the mainstream media, in particular, the differences between MSNBC and Fox News. My perspective is that all mainstream media outlets are so beholden to corporate and commercial interests that they will not give you the type of information you need to make valid decisions about the way that systemic power operates. That's my position. The person that I was on the show with, John Hellman, is an MSNBC anchor, and he was obviously advocating for MSNBC. Why I think MSNBC, if they're better than Fox News at all, aren't better enough. John, I've not known you long, but I love you already. But I have to say that it's disingenuous to claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. And unless I'd call that a light smattering of applause at the mention of the name BlackRock and Vanguard, and indeed, two of the biggest investors in MSNBC are BlackRock and Vanguard. We'll unpack that a little more in a minute. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there. I went on a show called Morning Joe. It was absurd the way they carried on.
Good Morning Joe.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism. No one was willing to stick up for genuine American heroes like Edward Snowden. No one was willing to talk about Julian Assange and what he's suffered trying to bring real journalism to the American people.
As you can see, Hellerman, the guy that Russell Brand is talking to, is like itching in his seat. Like he can't sit still. Like he's just, you can tell he's like about to lose it. The fact that someone is comparing MSNBC to Fox or saying MSNBC is worse than Fox, he's literally about to blow a gasket. This is in most cases for people that watch MSNBC or the condescending type that believe in MSNBC, that believe MSNBC isn't just propaganda. They hate conservatives and people that watch Fox News so much that the fact that they would be compared to them absolutely just blows their mind, and it gets them so worked up. You can't even have an honest conversation with them because they instantly do the blame game stuff, where if you say, well, yeah, but look, MSNBC, they lied here, they lied. Yeah, but what about Fox News? What about this? It's like being outside at recess in elementary school where the 5-year-old's saying, yeah, but you kicked me first. Like, there's no actual valid argument. It's just, yeah, but Fox News did this, but Fox News did that. They could never look at themselves within because they're so condescending that they just think you're beneath them. So they would never actually look in their mirror and realize that, hey, I'm watching a show right now that just mentioned Donald Trump's name 135 times. There is nothing there but propaganda. Donald Trump is not our president. Donald Trump is not in office. It is still 2 years until the 2024 campaign. So the fact that, once again, we're talking about Trump, like, I get it. And I get if you would run a news story about him, if you ran a segment on him. But you're talking about week after week, they're devoting show after show, hour after hour, after hour, after hour, talking about the same guy obsessively. It's obsessive. And once it gets to that point, it's not news. You know, you can only talk about the same thing so many times and to where it's not news anymore. You can't call it breaking news when you're talking about impeachment in January 6th. January 6th happened 2 years ago. President Trump was in office for 2 years. It can't be breaking news anymore. So we're going to listen to a couple more facts about MSNBC that Russell has.
Where everyone's willing to shout and scream, oh, we would never do that on MSNBC. But look at what you do on MSNBC. Here are some facts about MSNBC that are, in my view, truly startling and at very least cause for a genuine analysis about the role of the media in our culture. In November 2021, an analyst who was a key contributor to Democratic-funded opposition research into possible links between Donald Trump and Russia was arrested and charged with lying to the FBI about his sources. The analyst, Igor Danchenko, was a primary researcher for claims that went into the so-called Steele dossier, a compendium of rumors and unproven assertions suggesting that Trump and his 2016 campaign were compromised by and conspiring with Russian intelligence officials to help him defeat Hillary Clinton. What have you got to back up these claims of collusion and collaboration? Well, we've got a compendium of rumors and unproven assertions. Oh, that'll do. Let's put that on the news. The Danchenko indictment doubled as a critique of several media outlets that covered Steele's reports in 2016 and after its publication by BuzzFeed in January 2017. CNN, MSNBC, Mother Jones, the McClatchy newspaper chain, and various pundits showered credibility upon the dossier without corroboration. Prior to the 2016 election, MSNBC gave massive airtime to Trump on behalf of the DNC, which saw Trump as the most easily defeatable candidate. Part of the problem, of course, as well, is that similarly, MSNBC and CNN benefited from Trump, deified Trump, required Trump. In fact, what a perfect example for the whole damn farrago. The fact is that they both benefit from figures like Donald Trump that are divisive and incendiary and drive eyeballs to the screen, to their channels. For whom? They're advertisers. Not because they truly care, but just that's the way that the business model works. Trump fueled a 5-year run of record ratings and profit for Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN that began when Trump first ascended the escalators of his eponymous Midtown Manhattan Tower in June 2015 to announce his candidacy for president. CNN generated an average of $1 billion in profit annually for its parent company, AT&T, thanks to its coverage of Trump. CNN and Fox News became among the greatest profit generators for their corporate parents, and MSNBC began to catch up as well. In 2018, the year after Trump took office, their revenues jumped by 4% to $5.3 billion. $5.3 billion. That's a lot of hatred for Trump. Maybe though, as was claimed on the Bill Maher show, MSNBC are motivated not by profit, but by their ideals. Let's have a look. MSNBC is owned by Comcast, which is a charity that helps children in Africa. Which is a subsidiary of General Electric, the 14th largest defense contractor in the US. Oh, when are these children going to get helped? And the homeless too. The top 3 institutional shareholders for MSNBC are, wait for it, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street Corp. Now, unless State Street Corp is something to do with Sesame Street, that's not a good look. Here is what you will not hear on MSNBC. You will not hear experts who criticize insurance or pharmaceutical companies, and you will not hear experts who criticize Wall Street. Remembering, of course, that Wall Street owns the insurance and pharmaceutical companies. Neither MSNBC nor Rachel Maddow ever called out Wall Street for its influence of elections. In 2016, Wall Street contributed $184 million to candidates and parties. In 2022, MSNBC aired an interview with a New York Times columnist blaming inflation on workers getting COVID relief money rather than on corporations using their monopoly power to fleece consumers with higher prices that then fund giant executive pay packages and shareholder dividends. You can have transparency, accountability, authenticity, integrity, an open conversation with your viewers that's not based on piety, pomposity, judgment, and condescension.
So there, Russell Brand shows the rise in ratings, which also brings in the rise in profits. And these profits came off the back of Donald Trump. Whenever MSNBC started giving Trump more airtime, MSNBC's ratings went up. Whenever MSNBC talked about Donald Trump, MSNBC's ratings went up again, therefore giving MSNBC millions and millions and millions of dollars in advertising money. I really appreciate Russell Brand taking the time to doing the homework, doing some investigative work, and bringing some of these facts to light. I'll make sure I leave a link in the description of Russell Brand's full video I do really think it is important to know where these media outlets are coming from and what their motives are. And once again, if we're going back to motives, and if a hour-long news show is doing nothing but attacking one person for an entire hour, or attacking an opposing party for an entire hour, is that not the definition of propaganda? Regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican, is that not the definition of what propaganda is? And yes, even though they did use that hour however they want, attacking a certain person, we all missed out, though. They still didn't bring us the news. Everybody watching this channel missed the news tonight. And if you watch this show for the rest of the week, you're going to miss the news every night. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please hit that like button, subscribe, comment. I appreciate all your guys' support. Thanks for watching.
Turn around, drop him.
You told Donald Trump to turn around and take off his pants.
Yes.
And did he?